So hello and welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a while. I am very sorry. Been trying to get through the rest of the school year and figure out some things and trying to figure out where I want my channel to go. And yeah, for this video I wanted it to be a little bit more special. This is basically the story of how I lost my teeth. I know I've been getting a lot of questions about that. I was not very clear at all, and there was a reason for that, just because I wanted to do it justice, I guess. I don't know how to explain that other than that, but I hope you enjoy. So the story on how I lost 8 of my permanent teeth is back in July of 2012, July 22nd to be exact. At the time I was 10 years old. I had just turned 10. I was going into the 5th grade and I had just moved to a new house. I had only lived at that new house for about only a month probably, and my grandmother at the time, when she was alive, she was living with us. We have like a basement that was renovated for her to live in. So my grandma was just moving in. We had moved in before she did, and so we were helping her move, and my parents wanted to go on a date night, just relax and just kind of get a feel for the new area. And yeah, so my uncle was like, hey, let me take you guys out to eat, me, my grandmother, and my brother. And on the way home, we weren't very far from our house. We were about 10 miles from my house. And basically we were turning left into an intersection. It wasn't protected. It seemed like it was okay to go. While my uncle was turning, me and my grandmother yelled, "There's a car coming," because we were looking out the window. And I was in the back seat on the right side. And instead of my uncle going and hurrying up and going, he, out of shock and oh no, he stopped in the middle of the intersection. And as I was looking at the window to see this car coming, I saw that this car had sped up as soon as we stopped and hit me. And that is the last thing I remembered until I was being put in a helicopter and flown to a hospital. So that seems pretty intense, right? I never like to have this really deep conversation about my accident, but it is really important to me because it affected me pretty severely. What I later found out is that the car had hit my side because we were so kind of far out. Me being in the back seat and looking out the window, the car hit me, basically hit my side, and it spun me into another car again. After the 2 collisions, there was chaos. My brother, who was sitting right next to me, was completely fine. No scratches, nothing. And he looks over and sees his older sister bleeding from the mouth and just kind of hysterically crying, which I don't remember to this day very well anyway. The bits and pieces come as time goes on, but I don't really remember that. But he got out of the car and sits on the side of the road. And funny enough, my parents were actually across the street at a drugstore. And actually, we were the car behind them. There was a drugstore right next to the intersection. They were the car in front of our car. They heard the crash and they thought it was them. They, just whispered, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe that just happened. Lord, be with those people." And they called my uncle to see if my grandmother wanted anything at the drugstore. And that's when my uncle said, "We are hit." My parents ran from the drugstore to our car, trying to figure out, is everyone okay? What's the situation? And of course, I was not in good shape at all. Luckily, there was a police officer nearby and, telling me, calm down, it's gonna be okay, just don't move, all that kind of stuff. While my uncle he didn't leave the car, or he left the car, but because he wanted to let the officer do his job and try to figure out what to do. He did not abandon me though. He was nearby the car, directing my mom to my brother. So my dad got in the front seat and tried to calm me down. At this point, I don't remember this hardly at all, a little bit. And the reason I don't remember any of this, even though I was very much awake and hysterically crying and trying to understand what was going on, is because when your body goes into shock, your brain basically shuts down and you black out because it's protecting yourself from remembering the traumatic experiences. So that's what happened to me. I don't remember that part hardly at all, or it's very vague anyway. It was not my normal self. I'm very good at tolerating pain and getting through those things, but I was not in myself. It's like an out-of-body experience almost. I wouldn't say it's I didn't go to heaven or anything, nothing like that, but it was, as I look back on it now, I'm like, man, that happened? What? It was weird. It still is weird. As the ambulances and the fire trucks and the police officers started coming in and trying to direct traffic as well as contain the situation of our accident, they saw that I was in very bad shape and decided to call the helicopter so that I could be airlifted to a hospital. So the helicopter came and they put me on a stretcher and they put me on the helicopter, and I don't remember anything after being put on the helicopter. I just remember, my back really hurts and I can barely breathe, and me being put on a helicopter pretty much. And then after that, I don't remember a thing. It's because of my brain shutting down, so I wouldn't remember the traumatic experience, and also the doctors gave me drugs to make sure that I wouldn't remember it. It's not brainwashed, it's nothing like that. It's just protecting a 10-year-old little girl from almost dying, or from remembering that she almost died. So when I was airlifted to the hospital, my parents, got in a car and drove. My dad rushed in and said, "Hey, where's my daughter? Is she okay? Is she gonna make it?" And this doctor comes up to him and she says, "Yes, your daughter's gonna be fine. We're taking care of her. By the way, my name is Dr. Lazarus." And if you don't know the Bible very well or aren't very familiar with it, there was a man named Lazarus, and he was basically raised from the dead. So that's what it means to me anyway. So I actually ended up being in a coma, it was a medicalized coma, with a breathing tube down my throat, and just me, struggling to survive, trying to survive. And I was in that medical induced state for about 12 days. And that might sound like, oh my gosh, what? And yeah, it is kind of like, oh my gosh, what? But it was the thing that, saved my life and saved me from remembering that I almost died. So it's all good, So because this story goes around why and how I lost 8 of my permanent teeth when the car hit my face, it kind of, I don't know how to explain it. But basically, my teeth are like this, right? And they're perfectly together, right? And when the car hit me, all my teeth went, but barely hanging on by a string, pretty much. And so they had to take out my permanent teeth. things happen in life and you just gotta keep going. And yeah, that's how I actually lost my teeth. But as far as my other injuries, I had bruised lungs. I had a level 4 out of 5 liver laceration. That just means that my liver was almost chopped in half, pretty much. I had a little spinal tab of mine chip off and fall off, so one of them is missing, I guess. Unless it grew back, I don't really know. I had a severe brain bleed, and that just means that my brain bled. Yeah. None of these things, of course, are good, obviously. That's why and how I almost died from a medical standpoint. Yeah, I was on a breathing machine for that 12-day period, and they had to keep me on the breathing machine until I could fully breathe on my own again. The brain bleed did affect me, but it didn't kill, like, I wasn't like going brain dead, if that makes any sense. So that's good. So anyway, those are my injuries that I had. So I was awakened after 12 days and I could breathe on my own and I was getting a lot better. And so I was transferred from the ICU to the regular children's hospital. There, I had to basically go through physical therapy and some mental therapy as well, just to make sure that I was, good. Yeah, and I could do things that I could do before. They had just taken me out of a 12-day coma and didn't really know my mental state, so they had to make sure that that was all in check as well. So I was there for about a week and a half after coming out of the 12-day sleeping period, if that makes any sense. I survived, obviously, and I'm so thankful that I survived. I honestly have to say that, I was healed. They predicted that maybe I should have died, and I think I should have, from all the things I had to go through. It was a miracle that I survived, and I'm very thankful that I did survive. I wanted to talk about the importance of being safe on the road. If you're a driver and you don't care about the rules and whatever, and texting and driving or drinking and driving, look, it's for people's safety, because stuff like this does happen, It's an accident. No one means for this to happen, it just happens. And we have to be mindful of what our actions can do to others around us. That's the main message I really want to put out there. The second message is crap happens to us all the time, and if you are just so negative and just this happened to me and I can't get over it and yada yada yada, you're not gonna be happy in life. And it's okay to be sad and just depressed for a time, but there comes a point where, you just step up and be like, you know what? It is okay. Life is good. I can get over this. I'm an overcomer. I can overcome this. I may seem like a perfectly, fun person who's always positive, but that's not the case at all. I can be negative too, and I have my moments. And so I struggle with that, and I'm still learning that I need to, come out of myself, look around, and see what I can do for others, even if it's just a smile or a hey or a conversation. It can affect anyone tremendously. So that's the story of me almost dying in a car accident. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're new here, please go ahead and subscribe and like. And if you really just want to know more about the situation, please go ahead and comment below, as well as give me some ideas for some videos that you might want to see in the future. And if you haven't already, go ahead and follow my Instagram and Twitter, and that will be in the description box as well. And I am also going to be giving out a shout out every video. Hopefully it will be regular every week. Please keep your fingers crossed for that, because I'm really trying here. So this week I am shouting out So thank you for watching once again, and I hope you beautiful people have a good week.